welcome to our property management webinar. My name is Jorge Tejada. We're here with J&C Real Estate Property Management, in which we're going to be able to let you know why you need a property management and how much we can provide to you when it comes to making wealth through property management.
Who we are. I'm Cynthia Tejada. I'm with J&C Real Estate. We are a company of real estate and property management, and I'm a real estate agent.
I am the broker of record, and because in order for us to make this happen by the state of California, it requires to have a broker's license.
We've been here in business around 11 years as property management, and we have almost over 100 properties that we manage here in the High Desert area and the Indio area, Palm Spring area.
Yes, and along with that, it's a combination of properties like residential, single-family residence, commercial buildings, multifamily residence, in which each of those need a different legal and lease agreement contract.
So let's talk about property management. What is a property manager?
A property manager are people that specialize in ensuring a rental is being operating accordingly to the guidelines given by the owner. Of course, working as a team. And they should have a working knowledge of the real estate industry, the rental operates in, such as industrial, commercial properties, or housing. For this reason, some states require, like we mentioned, a property manager to be licensed real estate broker. If this is the case, a property owner will need to hire a broker to ensure the property is managed legally. But again, also a property owner can manage their own properties. But in this case, it's like doing it more professionally and with legal contracts.
Yes, basically here in California, every state has its own rules. So here in California, if you as property owner don't want to manage your property, you need to hire someone. You need to hire a professional, a licensed, a real estate broker, not a real estate agent, a broker that needs to be under his license, that management.
That's right. And along with that, it comes a lot of different knowledge through property management, because it's totally different when it comes to listing, selling a property or buying a property.
And it's better if you want to keep yourself more legally detached from your tenants. So, because a broker will allow you to keep distance, and in a legal contract or courts, everything, you don't need to go there. Your property management can represent you, and the tenant doesn't need to know who is the owner in that contract.
Along with that, it's a team that we have of attorneys, which are third parties that we use. And we're gonna go through all of that so we can give you a better idea how to put that team together, which we already have in place.
So what does property management work? Or what property management do? What are the activities that they are doing? They do like a market value for your property. They're like rent and security deposit, what increases if you need an increase, what it's allowed per law right now. Because every state has its own laws that's settled. Same with the security deposit. Here in California, you can ask up to 2 month security deposit. Many owners doesn't know that. They just charge 1 month, but when it comes to evict people, they go owing more like 3 months. So a month is really not worth it. In our experience, depending on how much are you investing as an owner on a property, we suggest to charge 1.5 months up to 2 months. Is the top the law can help you to charge. So if you can do that, depending on the conditions of the property, you can do it. And we do suggest that. Increases depending on right now, it's up to like 7% depending on the price of living in here in the state of California, plus the 5% of increase. So it's like 7, 8, depending on that. So we're for making sure that everything is good under the law. So we suggest a 7%. So it's depending, has many laws depending on how much time the tenant has been in the property, more than a year, less than a year, that everything. That's why you need to hire someone that knows the law.
Definitely.
And then we do the marketing, advertising on the property. We do the tenant screening, application to rent, reference, everything, who is going to live in the property, its pets allowed or not allowed, or they're gonna bring pets. So you can charge also a monthly rent or a deposit for your pet, for the tenant's pet. We do ask for credit, a criminal and eviction report. It's also very good to have a good screening of what you're going to have living in your property, because you don't want something that it will be problems in less than a month.
And adding to that, it's the most important step when we do all the screening, because once we get the reports from our team, from our other company that we use, we notice any eviction, it's automatically we deny that application, because we don't want a headache for ourselves, and especially not for our clients, the owners. And we've been having those issues in which the owner decides to rent a property to one of the families who's being evicted. And once again, they've been facing the same problem, evicting that family once again. So we really don't do that at all. And we don't recommend somebody that is already know the process through the eviction. So basically we said no to those applications.
In the next seminar, next Sunday, you can join us, and we're going to talk more about the tenant screening process. So you can know what to ask in application, what to ask as a credit report, what do you need as an income proof, everything that you need to know in order to have a good family put in place in your property. And also what we do is handle tenant issues, the daily maintenance or whatever they need to do or ask, time for the payment. It's a lot of issues they have. So if they don't pay the water bill, the electric bill, we know about those things. Depending on the city that you have your property, some owners know what they owe the tenants, some other no, depending on the city. So we do that. With schedule and track maintenance, one of the things that we do is depending on the owner too. Some owners want to handle their own repairs. It's better for us if we can handle, because we take decisions more quickly for the tenants. So depending, we can schedule or put like top that we can handle repairs, small repairs, and we have a team dedicated for that.
And of course, all of that, we also let you know before we do any repairs if it's the tenant's responsibility because they had an accident and they broke a kitchen faucet. We know that we can send our crew and do the job, but the tenant is going to be responsible to pay for that. But in other cases that, let's say the water heater breaks down, and it's because it's been there for 7, 8 years.
What does a property manager work too? It's manage finances and records. So we do like statements of your property management or for the rental income and the maintenance the whole year, depending on with taxes purposes or loan purposes. Also, we prepare the property. So we have a maintenance team, and that's a good thing. So when one tenant leaves, then others need to come in. We need to prepare that, doing repairs, cleaning carpet, or just replace the carpet, replace some appliances, etc. Also, we do the lease agreement. So if the owner doesn't need to sign that lease, we are representing the client with legal responsibility.
And a question was from one of our clients when it comes to lease agreements, that which one it's harder to manage, if it's a single family residence, multi-family residence, or a commercial building. And it all depends on the lease agreement. The way that we set it up is to make it as strong as possible to protect ourselves and especially our clients. When we represent them, it has to be in a very clear and strong verbiage through the legal agreement. So that's why we do multiple, and there are multiple lease agreements, not just the one basic that can protect more when it comes to legal issues.
Yeah. And this is protect you for the worst, right? It's just, we don't want to go to court. We don't want to evict the tenants, but some things happen and suddenly we need to do that. So that lease is a protection for you, for the owner, for our property management. So we can have everything in writing in order to protect your investment. So we do also the move-in and move-out inspection at the beginning of the lease. We do a move-in, so everything is like itemized, what it's the status of the property, how they received it, in order to do the move-out inspection. When they move out, is what with the left, the before and after. So we can do the disposition of the security deposit. And that's also another thing that we're going to talk later about how you can do the security deposit, because per law, it's some things that you cannot discount, or the total or just partial, how many days you need to or how many days you have to do the security deposit and turn it back to the tenant or not.
Yeah, because at the end of the lease agreement, when it comes to the disposition of the security deposit, it's basically we need to come into the property, and if it's not in good condition, like the way or similar to the way that we give it to the tenant, we will use that money to cover all those expenses. And by the end, when we provide the disposition of the security deposit, we usually have a lot of problems with the tenants, because they said that that was the way that the property was when they move in. So, we want to avoid all those problems for you and for ourselves, our company.
So why you need a property management? So these are some questions that you need to ask yourself, because it's like you need to see if you really need it. So these questions will help you to figure out if you want to hire a property manager or not. So do you need a property management? One of the question is your rental property close to your home? So that it's basic. Most of our clients are in California, but they're not nearby. They are like 4 hours away, maybe 2, 3, but they don't really want to be doing long trips about it. Another is, how many units do you own? Because if you have just 1, 2 properties, very easy for you to handle yourself. But if you have multiple units and you have another business that you need to take care of, that's the things that you need to ask to. So it's better if someone can help you managing a lot of units.
And the other one is, how much experience do you have managing properties? And this where comes to all of those issues or stories that I've been hearing for different clients that now we do management for them. Is like they don't run any reports. They don't know if the family had an eviction before, criminal record, or any other issues that they owe money. So in this case, is that experience helps a lot, because usually, they end up with a family in their property that is going to pay them probably the third month, and after that they just don't pay at all, and usually it takes them 6 to 7 months to take them out, because they don't have that experience.
Yes, in some cases, they rent for a family member, for a friend that they know, and they think they're doing a favor, and don't do leases, don't do any document about it. So it's harder than when they don't pay and they want to get them out of the property. So that's some things that you need to consider too. So fourth, can you afford to hire a property manager? So that's a tricky question, because you need to think about it. If your rental property is doing as much to pay a property manager, but in our own experience, you need to do your numbers. So if you don't have to pay a mortgage or a loan, so a rental property can be paid by the tenant's rent.
Yeah, because let's use an example. If the rent is $1,000 per month, our fee for one property is 8%. So you will collect 1,000, and from that $1,000, our 8% is $80. So $80 per month is gonna go towards our company for our services. If you have 2 properties, then we can negotiate to 7%. If you have 3 properties, then we can keep negotiating. But as long as it works for you and for us, we can manage that, because it's going to make good for your income, and it's going to make good for our company. And the best out of this is that the tenant will be covering all those expenses.
Yeah, it's a good thing to know too. So 5, do you have the time to manage your property? That's a good one, because sometimes you have your family around, you have another business, and this is your side business investments, and you don't really want to be dealing with tenants. So think about it. How much time do you have to manage your property?
The other one is, are you willing to give up control? Basically, is somebody else is going to be living in your property, and they're going to be in control of that property. Basically, they're going to have that privacy and enjoyment of the property. And of course, like we said, we want to be dealing with that through different visual inspections and making sure that the property keeps in its best conditions.
And the best that you can give, or the most that you can give control to your property manager, is better, because if you're in the middle, is the purpose of the property manager is not accomplished. So sometimes you contact the tenant directly. Sometimes you want to go to that property to do the maintenance in order to save some money. It's more difficult for us to do our property job the way it's supposed to be if the owner is in the middle. So that's a good question if you really want to give up control, because sometimes you're in the middle and really the things that doesn't move forward. And another thing is, are you willing to take on the liability of the property manager? As we say, legally, the property manager is representing you. So every decisions that the property manager is taking is also going to be under your responsibility when a property of yours is involved. So all those things, it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, but it's just legal. So in court, they will represent you as the property management. So you need to think about that too.
Yes, because let's say that we get this tenant for you, and probably a year later, we need to file an eviction because he didn't pay for that specific month. So the liability comes that you are responsible to pay for the legal fees, because like we explained through the percentage that we charge, that's just only for the property manager. We use another company that is involved with our property management, and we use those attorneys to represent us in court, but that has a cost. For a regular eviction, non-contested eviction, it's $740. And then when we go and we need to pay the attorney to represent us, and that's an extra $320. So we're talking about an estimate of a little bit over $1,000 to complete an eviction. And we are going to be in court with the attorney. I'm the one who's going to be there. You don't have to be there. But like I said, I don't want you to get confused when it comes to our fee in managing your property, because we're going to try and we're going to keep doing our best not to get to the court, because we want to make sure that our tenants, and that's why we have over 100 properties under management, because we try and we are the best to choose, because we really pick and choose the best families, and that's why we don't have many of those eviction, but we've been through different evictions. And another thing that you need to also consider is that, do you have a high vacancy rate or problems with your cash flow?
Well, because depending on if a property is empty, it doesn't help, right? So you need to consider that. So what's wrong? Are you doing the good advertising, or I'm in the good place? I'm in Facebook, or I'm not in Facebook. I'm in Zillow or not Zillow. Is good or not? So depending on that, you need to evaluate. Sometimes you cannot handle that information, or maybe a property manager can do it, or problems with your cash flow, because when you have a payment and you're not receiving income, also you need to rent it soon. That's something that you need to consider, and you need to find help quickly. Right. And 9, what is your tolerance for dealing with tenants? That's a good one, right? So if you have patience or not uh, have a you need to have someone in between that can help or to understand. Sometimes we can handle, sometimes we cannot handle, but we can do legal notifications. We have what is permitted and not permitted for the owners, what is permitted and not permitted with the tenants. So we do a middle point so you can handle your tenants the better way.
And that's why we really need to put as much in writing so they can initial and sign, so we don't have to go through different stories or situation, personal, um, because they go through personal problems, and we don't want to really deal with that. So there is a gap between that we need to separate, and that way we can just concentrate in really managing what is that is allowed from us, and not to go all the way into their privacy or our own privacy. So that's why we need a really strong lease agreement.
Yeah, and you need some company that is in between. Some tenants are very good with the owners, and some tenants are not. So we have a case that they have several properties, but they gave us two properties because they don't want to deal with this tenant anymore. They behind the rent every time. They're asking for more and more time every month. So they say, no, I don't want to handle it anymore. And since we got them, they've been paying on time, the fifth. So the sixth, the owner has their money and they don't have to deal with it anymore. So you need to see what's going on. Maybe it's a good strategy sometimes to hire a property manager so they can help you with some difficult tenants. And the fee, as the end of the day, the tenant is going to pay with the rent. So this is our presentation for today. Hope you think about it and hire a property management. We would love to hear from you if you have more questions or more concerns about the property management here in California, so we can give you more advice.
Yes, we are ready to service your properties. We have the experience, and most important, the team that make us stronger through all of this. And especially when it comes to the worst case scenario, because we also need to bring that into our books, because that we need to be ready, because we don't know, you don't know if that family that it's really bringing a great income and they can afford that obligation per month, probably within a year, or because we have tenants for over 5 years, and on the sixth year, unfortunately they get into a divorce, and then that's when the problems come, and we need to be ready for that. And that's why we need, again, a strong security deposit. And also we need to make sure, when we do the screening, that they have a good history through the years, so we can just make the whole process a lot easier for everybody, and concentrate in generating what we are here for, to manage the property and get that cash flow every month, which is the best. So thank you for joining us.
See you next week.
Thank you, thank you. Excellent presentation. Personally, it will help to me to create better content for J&C Property Management and digital account. I will post full content on YouTube and short videos on Instagram and Facebook during the week.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, because this is very, very strong in our company, and we keep growing. We just got another commercial building under our property management, and yeah, that's how we make more money every month, because it's a steady income for our company, and we can keep growing and growing, and
Pay you.
especially you get paid. If not, if we don't get paid, you don't get paid, you know.
Muchas gracias. De verdad que estuvo muy bonito, interesante hablar de lo que hacemos y así nos conoce más.
Así que si hay algunas preguntas, posteriormente las podemos contestar. Si no sé cómo se va a hacer eso, o también están siempre los teléfonos, ¿verdad, don Anthony, cuando se hace la publicación?
Sí, correcto. Correcto. Okay.
Excelente. Bueno, muchas gracias de nuevo y estamos a la orden.
Okay. Perfecto. Gracias.
Gracias. Bye.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.